This month, Sketch discusses the Dealer's Room and Artist Alley. Patrick tells us why you should never start a convention. In Q&A, we answer a bunch of questions from a fan, plus the latest news and upcoming conventions. I'm Shiva, and this is the AnimeCons.com podcast for June 2010.
In the Western United States, Anime Expo has announced new guests, including manga artist Ray Hiro, blogger Jenny Chu, and musical guests AKB48, Mel, Megumi Nakajima, and Main. Over in Colorado, Nandeskan will feature performers from Echo Stream and Kazaa, along with appearances from voice actors Chris Patton, Wendy Powell, and Christina V. In the South, Star Blazers voice actress Amy Howard Wilson has been announced as a guest at Otakon. Moving up in the Midwest, GeekCon's second round of guest announcements includes voice actor Eric Vale, cartoonist John Kolovic, and video game developer Raven Software. ShooToCon has announced guests Michelle Ruff, Year 2000X, Doug Smith, and the creators of the documentary HoboCon. Up in the Northeast, Production IG director Kenji Kamiyama will be appearing at Anime Next. PortCon Maine has announced a $500 scholarship to be awarded to one of the college-bound or college-enrolled PortCon Maine community members. The scholarship will be presented during the cosplay competition at the convention. I'll be on stage, not involved. And finally, in Canada, Icon has announced its final round of guests, voice actors Kirby Morrow and Christopher Ayers. For more information on these announcements and all the latest updates, please visit our site at AnimeCons.com. Attending an anime convention presents a unique shopping opportunity. Hundreds of products that you can usually only buy online are now available for you to see in person. Sometimes there are deals that can save you big bucks, or you can get that customized artwork of your dreams. Most anime conventions will have two places for you to spend your hard-earned money, a dealer's room and an artist alley. A dealer's room is exactly what it sounds like. Dealers from all over the country set up shop at a table or multiple tables and sell their goods. You can find things from DVDs and manga to figurines and posters to Gundam models and costumes. Not all cons have dealers that sell food. Sometimes contracts with the facilities restrict what can be sold in dealers' rooms. Also, not all cons have dealers that sell weapons. This may be due to local or state laws or a liability factor the con does not want to deal with. At larger conventions, some companies will set up promotional booths where they showcase their newest shows, games, and acquisitions. Many of these booths will have autograph signings and free swag to give away. It also gives you opportunity to meet and talk to people who work in the industry. The Artist Alley features artists who sell their art prints and other handmade, self-made items. You can find things like chibi versions of your favorite anime characters, pins with funny and geeky sayings, bookmarks with characters, and fun origami creations. Many artists also take commissions, so if you find someone with a style you like, they may be able to create something custom just for you. The size of the rooms depend on the size of the convention, both the size of its facilities and number of attendees. Obviously, larger cons will have larger rooms, vendors, and artists, and these people need to sign up for their tables, and they usually pay a fee to be able to sell their items. Here are some things to keep in mind for both. Budget wisely. Make sure you pay for your other expenses first before spending money in either room. Also, money for food comes before money for spending. If you don't have enough money, get the dealer's or artist's business card and see if you can purchase what you want online after the con. Don't expect anyone to be able to take credit or debit cards. More and more dealers are able to use credit card machines every year, but some still only take the cash, and to avoid fees associated with them. It is very unlikely that artists will have card machines available. Know what the tax rate is. This applies more to dealers' rooms. Make sure you know what the state's sales tax is so you don't get overcharged. Yes, dealers are required to sell their items with sales tax. Watch your surroundings. Both rooms can get very crowded, and if you can, leave your huge Buster Sword or Gara's Gourd behind. That also goes for huge bags and backpacks. Try to avoid blocking the halls when having conversations with friends, and also it's not a good place to take pictures of costumes. Try to step to the side. Be aware of your wallet, purse, or backpack, because the area can be crowded and it creates the perfect environment for pickpocketers, and some people just go for that sin. Be sure to check out the deals on Sunday. Okay, sometimes this is good, sometimes it's not. Other times it's just good to get one last run through at the con. You might find something you didn't see before. But some dealers and artists may cut their prices more on Sundays so that they personally don't have to bring more home after the con. If there's something you're really not sure about getting before because of the price, check again on the last day. It might go down.
So, are you thinking about starting a new convention? Well, I've got one word of advice. Don't. Now, you may not want to listen to my advice and decide, I really want to do it, I don't care what you say, but before you do that, let me give you some advice that I've discovered over the years. First thing you should do is staff another convention. I can't stress that enough. If you're going to run your own, you have to go to another convention and find out what it's like to run a convention. You need the experience, and in the end, that will make your event much better. Also, consider the location. Are you in a good place for a convention? If there's already 5 conventions in your city for the same theme, then it may not be the best idea to start a 6th convention. Is there the population to support that many conventions? If you're in a small town, maybe they can have a convention for a few hundred people, but are they really ready for a second one? Also, the date. Obviously, you don't want your convention to be on the same weekend as another one that's nearby. But also consider what other conventions across the country are running, because if you're trying to get guests or dealers, if there's a larger convention running the same weekend a few states away, you may find it difficult to get anybody to come to yours. Also, finances. It's not easy or cheap to run a convention. You're going to need $5,000 to $10,000 to get it off the ground just for renting equipment and flying people in for the guests, or getting the facilities. If you have a hotel, that's a huge expense. And some people think they see the conventions, oh, there's thousands of people here, this is great, I'm going to make a ton of money. No, you don't make money with conventions. These are all fan conventions, and in recent years, any groups that have tried to make money off of it often don't. And also resources. Consider that you can't do it alone. You need a lot of people to help you. And it helps if they're experienced in different sorts of things. So if you have to start the con, find a friend who's a lawyer, get an accountant, somebody who's an expert at websites, get them to all help you. And now when you're starting this convention, pick a date with minimal competition, as I mentioned, and but you're going to have to estimate the attendees. Make a low estimate, a very low ball estimate, and also a high estimate. The low estimate you need, that's what you have to base your budget off of. So if you say, okay, I think at minimum we'll get 100 people, then plan on the registration for those 100 people and have that be the budget. But for the maximum, you have to have a number of program guides available and schedules. So if you say, oh, well, we make it as high as 400, you have to have 400 schedules available. Also, consider running on a college campus, or at least to start out, because if it's usually helpful if you're a student at the college, but often the rates that they'll give students for running a convention at their facilities are a lot more reasonable than if you're going out to some hotel where they're trying to make money from your convention. And also, the last thing I want to mention is don't announce a date or the location until you're ready. Make sure all the contracts are signed and everything's locked in. Because if you're announcing a date or a location before that's even ready, then the hotel sees that and they know, oh, they're locked into this. We can jack up the price, and you have nothing to go back and forth about. But if you can negotiate the price because you haven't locked in a date or location and you can move it around a bit, then you may get a better deal. But remember, my first word of advice when starting a new convention: don't.
Looking to get the word out? Did you know that your company or convention can sponsor this podcast? We'll show a 30-second ad or read some copy like we're doing now. Our rates are quite reasonable. We have immediate availability. Your sponsorship will be seen by thousands of viewers. Contact advertising@animecons.com for full details.
This month's Q&A question comes from Glenn. He writes, "Dear friends, I would like to ask you some questions about you and your website for my newsletter. How long has the web show been on the air?" We've been doing this since 2009, January 2009. Who came up with the idea for the show? That would be me. And what is your favorite convention? I'd rather not say, and I'd like to remain impartial since I run AnimeCons.com. Can you tell us what is coming up in the June show? Well, you've seen most of it already. We also have upcoming conventions and telling you how to subscribe and what's coming up next month, so watch for that. Can we show this at our next meeting? Yeah, sure, you can show any of our podcasts at any of your Anime Club meetings. He says, now I have a question for the podcast. What was the first anime-only convention, and when and where? That was actually YamatoCon. It was held in Dallas, Texas in 1986. They had a few hundred attendees. I don't have any pictures from that. I wish I did. If you have a question you'd like to ask the AnimeCons.com podcast, send it into podcast@AnimeCons.com. Don't.
Follow our news feed on Twitter at twitter.com/animecons. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/animeconspodcast. Search for AnimeCons in iTunes, subscribe, and don't forget to leave a rating. Go to forums.animecons.com to find other people that like conventions. And keep watching next month when we'll be bringing you a look at Anime Next and PortCon Maine. The AnimeCons.com podcast for June 20th. I thought it was July. Damn it!
Sexy, sexy Christina V. Oh, now she's gonna defriend me.
HoboCon.
HoboCon. Over in Colorado.
Nandescon.
Nandescon. In the South. Stars Blazers voice actress Amy Howard.
How come the cat's going sideways? It's like...
That's from above.
But
He's
it's going
jumping.
sideways.
No, just go.
Leaping off.
It's midair.
It's doing the Superman.
We'll show you a 30 second.
Oh.
We're not gonna make their ad for them.
Patrick G's got enough to do.
I'm just standing
I
on
can
my
still
box.
hear you.
It's fine.
Scully's box.
Scully's box.
Scully's box that I'm standing on. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/animecons.com. It doesn't say .com. Gotcha.
Into a .net.
Follow our new. Always do that again.
Don't!